Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time, where I bring you the latest news pertaining to the country, the economy, as well as our money. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda, and welcome to our channel, the Ignition Time channel. Let's start with some important news that's emerging in the world of politics and in Washington, D.C. Think of this as another episode of the D.C. Comedy Hour. Let's start with this article on your screen from The Hill. A Republican women's group, a major fundraising group for Republican women, is actually criticizing Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's a Republican from Georgia, and Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, the Republican from Colorado, calling them Carnival barkers. Yep. Folks, the Value in Electing Women Political Action Committee, ViewPAC, founded in 1997 to increase the number of Republican women in Congress, is actually condemning the actions of these women. This is a quote from ViewPAC Executive Director Julie Conway. While we respectfully celebrate the number of Republican women serving in the House, I have always professed quality over quantity. Being in Congress is not a joke or a reality show. Our women have fought too hard for too long to be respected and taken seriously as lawmakers, policymakers, and thought leaders. We cannot let this work be erased by individuals who choose to be shameless self-promoters and carnival barkers. Wow, folks, it doesn't get more intense than that. Speaking of intense, let's take a look at the Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell, who opposes paying college athletes. Yep, folks, this is from the Republican lawmaker, the Republican Senate Minority Leader, who supposedly is a big proponent, is a big supporter of the free market system. This is what Mitch McConnell says. If they're really good, they get rich. If they're not really good, they get a free education. So I'm having a hard time grasping what's wrong with the current system. Let's roll the tape and watch.
Football and basketball provide enough revenue to make sure all the women get to play and all the men get to play who are in sports that do not generate any revenue. And what the young people get if they're in football or basketball, if they're really good, is they get rich. If they're not really good, they get a free education. So I'm having a hard time grasping what's wrong with the current system.
Now, if you thought that was interesting, a Republican candidate for the governor of Virginia actually conceded that he cannot tell voters what his position is on abortion, but he, I quote, will start going on offense once in office. Now, I don't know about you folks, but I don't think that's the way things are supposed to work. Here's the headline of an article from MSNBC. Republican candidate says he hides his abortion position from voters, and Virginia's Glenn Youngkin says he cannot tell voters his true beliefs about abortion, but he'll go on offense. He'll go on the offensive once in office. Wow. I think sometimes these Republicans actually think that Americans are fools. That is my interpretation. In the meantime, folks, here's a tweet on your screen from Benjamin Weiser, who reports for the New York Times and covers the Manhattan federal courts. He reports that a federal judge in Manhattan said that he will sentence Michael Avenatti to 2.5 years in prison in the extortion case involving Nike. The judge called conduct by Michael Avenatti outrageous. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at the Vice President of the United States, Vice President Kamala Harris. She is not at all happy about the restrictive Republican voting laws. She said this is not about Democrats or Republicans. This is about Americans. Let's roll the tape and hear from the Vice President of the United States, Vice President Kamala Harris. Let's watch.
We are going to assemble the largest voter protection team we have ever had to ensure that all Americans can vote and have your vote counted in a fair and transparent process. And again, I want to make clear that this is about all voters. It's about all voters. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. This is about Americans. Let's be clear about that. And who is prepared right now to stand up for what we say are some of our fundamental values, some of the fundamental pillars to a democracy, to our democracy. That's what this is about.
And if you thought that was intense, here's an article from CNN. Republican Congressman Chip Roy says he wants, I quote, 18 more months of chaos and the inability to get stuff done. Here's a direct quote from Roy. And by the way, he was talking about infrastructure negotiations in Congress. He said, the people who are working to cut the deal, by the way, were not your conservative warriors in the Senate. And so they're cutting a deal. But then Biden, who came out and said, we have a deal, allowed Pelosi to basically kind of step in and go, whoop, no, you don't. You're only going to get that deal if you have reconciliation with all this liberal garbage. And then Roy added, And then Biden said, okay, yeah. And they kind of backed away from the deal. Then he kind of came back away from the veto threat. So nobody knows what anybody's going to do now. That's the thing. This is the problem. I actually say, thank the Lord. 18 more months of chaos and the inability to get stuff done. That's what we want. Folks, this is a Republican lawmaker saying that we want 18 months of chaos. I did cover this elsewhere on our channel, but I do believe this is important, this is significant, and this is worth repeating. I'm going to play the audio of this unbelievable segment featuring the Republican lawmaker Chip Roy, who basically says that nothing should get done. We have to come up with 18 months of obstruction as far as the Democrats are concerned so that no legislation moves forward, because this is about politics. It's not about moving the country forward. Politics is about timing, opportunity, tribalism, and perception. Tribalism is all us against them. It's about making one side seem like the savior and demonizing the other side. And what is horrible about this, absolutely horrible about this, is that the country suffers. Let's roll the tape and hear from Congressman Chip Roy, who said he wants 18 more months of chaos and the inability to get stuff done. Unbelievable. Let's watch.
I mean, honestly, right now, for the next 18 months, our job is to do everything we can to slow all of that down to get to December of 2022. Well, I don't vote for anything in the House of Representatives right now. I actually say, thank you, Lord, 18 more months of chaos
Confusion.
and the inability to get stuff done. That's what we want.
And now, if you thought that was unbelievable, let's take a look at the Republican Senator from Wisconsin, Ron Johnson, who called climate change BS at a Republican women's luncheon in Wisconsin last month. This is pretty unbelievable. This is taking simple, scientific, proven things and then politicizing them, transforming what could and should be the future of our planet into a weapon in politics, weaponizing climate change into political mileage points. Unbelievable. Let's roll the tape and hear from the bizarre Republican senator from Wisconsin, Senator Ron Johnson. Let's watch.
I don't know about you guys, but I think climate change is, as Lord Moncton said, okay? And by the way, it is.
And speaking of bizarre, I'm going to show you once again the clip of former President Trump basically saying if you say something often enough, again and again, people will believe it. Think of the election lie. Think of all the nonsense that was spewed out about COVID. That is what he meant to talk about, but then he shifted to some imaginary tales about laptops and some nonsense, some miscellaneous nonsense that he's continuously feeding his supporters. I have to hand it to Trump. He's a master of the media, but he's also a master of large-scale manipulation. Let's roll the tape and watch Trump saying, if you say something often enough over and over again, people will believe it. He's talking about conditioning individuals to have a certain thought process. And that is exactly how dictators work. That is exactly how cults work. Let's roll the tape and watch these comments from Trump. It doesn't get any clearer than this. Let's watch.
If you say it long enough, hard enough, often enough, people will start to believe it. That's what happened with Russia. That's what happened with Ukraine. That's what happened with, well, the worst is when they don't say it, like the laptop from hell.
Thank you so much for watching. Please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. I appreciate you. We work very hard on this channel to bring you the latest news. Please, again, click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. That is how you can support our channel. Also, check us out on Twitter. This right here is my Twitter feed. You'll get all the latest breaking news. And keep in mind that our Twitter handle is ignition_time. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.